Red flags are a problem. We all know that, right? But how big does a red flag need to be for us to finally stop ignoring it?
In dating and relationships, a red flag is a small thing you notice in someone else's behavior that's symptomatic of a bigger problem.
Yes.
The trouble is that oftentimes a red flag can be hard to pick up
A camera in the YouTube symbol. That's the biggest red flag. So true.
on because red flags aren't only what someone does, they can also be what they don't do. And some red flags are certainly worse than others, so I want to start with the more
An educated woman.
mild ones and move up from there. Assuming you start with a blank white flag, at the lowest level we have red and white flags, which are just small quirks or inconsistencies that aren't bad, just kind of weird. Things like they don't lick the yogurt off the lid, they use Internet Explorer, they hold the door open for you as soon as they see you park your car, or
Internet Explorer's kind of like a big red flag, you know?
they're apologetic even if something is your fault. Basically, if it can be explained with, oh, Canadian, then it's probably in this category. So let's
Sad.
get started on the serious stuff. Low-tier red flags. A low-tier red flag is something that's probably bad, but not necessarily a complete deal breaker.
Okay.
They don't laugh at your jokes. I thought this was just normal, but they say if a girl doesn't laugh at your jokes, she probably isn't very compatible with you. If a girl is really into you, though, she'll likely laugh at all your jokes, even if they're not very good.
True.
They have a secretive past. This depends a lot on how communicative the person is. They might just be anxious about sharing personal details, but if they have no
Who doesn't have secret past nowadays?
problem talking about anything and everything except their past, is either something they don't want you to know, which is pretty bad,
I hate it when people try to figure out that I'm Batman.
or they're a Russian spy, which is pretty hot.
Hot, yeah. True.
Putting you on a pedestal, that is to say they think you're way out of their league. This one's obviously more common for guys to do to girls, but it can go the other way around too. Imagine I was in bed with a girl. Just gonna
Hot.
let that sink in. Imagine I was in bed with a girl and she whispered, "Oh my god, casually explained. Tell me again about how many subscribers you have." Of course, that would be a huge turn on, and I have dreams about that, but it's probably going to be a pretty one-sided relationship. Think of
Yeah.
how celebrities almost always date each other, even though they could be with any fan they wanted.
I mean, what are you gonna be with a crazy delusional fan who thinks you're the best thing in the universe, or another crazy delusional celebrity who thinks they are the best thing in the universe? It's kind of a cut and dry thing. People tend to date in their, fields.
They have the same last name as you. That's a bad sign. In most places. Alright, mid-tier
True.
red flags. These are a bit more serious and are usually harder to overcome or talk about. Tread very
big.
carefully if you notice any of these. They're a stripper. On paper it might sound well and good, but when it inevitably doesn't work out, you'll realize
Dude, that a stripper is the old day. Well, now it's actually the current day. They are a stripper is the current day. Oh, she only does OnlyFans. Oh my god, yep, good luck, Chief.
that
It
from
is
now
what it
on,
is.
you can only pay for things by card. Worth it. They don't have any independence. That is to say, if they have no interests or hobbies or ambitions in their life, it's likely they'll try to involve themselves in every moment of yours, which will eventually weigh you down
Annoying.
and get in the way of your goals. Kind of like Reddit. They trash talk their ex a lot early in the relationship. This is usually an indicator they're still emotionally invested in their previous partner, and it can be very
No, that's usually an indicator that they think they are a good person, that they are the best person, and everyone else is wrong. And yet, that's not one X, that's probably like, I don't know, 20 X's in a matter of a year. That stuff is insane. That's probably, honestly, one of the biggest red flags. You know? How can every ex you ever had be a horrible, horrible person? That means either you're attracted to horrible, horrible people, and that's kinda on you, or maybe you're actually the horrible person.
very difficult to build a new relationship from the rubble of an old one. Got that from Tumblr. Using ultimatums. These are saying things like, you have to do X, or I'm going to do Y. You have to watch out, though, because that's like me saying, if you don't subscribe, I'm not going to be your friend, which I would never say. What do you think? Alright, next is
Subscribe.
high-tier red flags. These are the ones that are complete deal breakers and are pretty much always
Yo.
non-negotiable. They're married, unless you're into that.
I mean, currently I don't think that's a real problem in the modern world.
They're already pregnant.
I mean, I don't think that's currently a problem in the modern world.
Unless you're into that. They're under 18.
I mean, I don't think that's currently a problem in the modern world.
This isn't just a red flag, it's a felony, but if you do find yourself attracted to girls
Not in America. Soon.
who are still in high school, great way to get over that is to talk to one of them. They treat waitstaff poorly. I think being mean to other people in general is a good sign of how they're going to treat you in the future, and I know that'd be...
Unless the wait staff asks for a tip. Because that means they're American and they deserve to be treated poorly. You know, and the math checks out.
hard to deal with because my self-esteem is based on what other people think of me. If you don't like their friends, people tend to be friends with people similar to them, and if someone surrounds themselves with unsavory individuals, it tells you a lot about that person.
Might be true.
Now, after a long time, eventually you might find that after going on date after date or going through relationship after relationship, even just after meeting a lot of new people, you start to think,
oh
it
no.
seems like pretty much everyone I meet has something wrong with them.
Yep.
They don't get me. They always
Yep.
have problems that they don't think are problems. I can't connect with them at all. And why can't I find someone who's not such a disaster?
Yeah.
This is the maximum
Accurate.
tier red flag. It's actually just you. This might sound pretty bad, but in a way, realizing that you might be a bit more responsible than you previously thought is the first step to becoming a more wholesome person and having better relationships with other people. And if you have a friend who shared this video with you, now is the moment where you reflect on whether they thought you'd find it funny and interesting,
or
if they're trying to
advice.
passive-aggressively tell you something.
You can tell this is an old video because, wow. I mean, the super red flags are now like common practice and acceptable fetishes, especially in places like America. And hey, if you're American, don't be mad. I'm not even lying. The Democrats are constantly trying to lower the minimum age to roughly 0. So, you know, you kind of got that on lockdown. Wow, you know? This is insane. But I did hate the Canadian part. Canadians are just so annoying. Well, thankfully, nowadays, you know, if you're Canadian, the government probably wants you to self-delete yourself in a legal way, because you're a burden. 10 out of 10 video. Like and subscribe, boys.